Number one, you just didn't matter. You just didn't matter to the narcissist. It really didn't matter what you thought, and it didn't matter what your skill set was, and it didn't matter what your decisions were. None of those things mattered. You didn't matter to the narcissist. What did matter to the narcissist was he or she was in control. And I'm thinking about this. Now, wait a minute. If I don't matter, why does the narcissist bother? Why does the narcissist want to hang out with me in the first place? Well, I do matter to the narcissist. I matter to the narcissist in the sense that he or she can manipulate me and they get the sense of control. They get this, what people call supply, this boost to their ego. So I'm kind of like a thing that they use to sap their sense of self-worth out of me. Yeah, they're taking away my sense of self-worth so they can have a sense of self-worth. What a crappy relationship. But we were in that relationship and now we're out of it. You know what I call that moment where you finally see it? I call that an epiphany. You know, we were in darkness, as people like to say, and then things started to become a little bit clearer, and now we see very clearly what was going on. Psychologists call that validation. I like to call it an epiphany, but the psychological term is validation. And here is how it's defined: finding the truth in what we feel and in the way that we think. So, all of a sudden we discover, yeah, I do matter. My opinions matter, my skill set matters. All of those things that didn't matter to the narcissist, now I realize the narcissist, I've had an epiphany, the narcissist was using me, taking advantage of me. Have you ever had that experience? If you have not had an epiphany, if you have not been validated or had validation, you need to move in that direction, just my opinion. I'm in my 70s. I've seen a thing or two, learned a thing or two over the years. I'm just sharing with you some of those things that I've learned. And one of the things that I've learned is there are a lot of narcissists out there, people who are willing to take advantage of me and you and anybody that crosses their path. They scope us out, they try to see what we're made out of, and if we are made of something they think they can use to their advantage, they will latch onto us through love bombing, love bonding, until we think we have this wonderful cooperative relationship. Number two is this: when you are in the control of a narcissist, not only do you not matter, but you realize, and this is expressed through number two, you don't have any kind of a choice. Doesn't matter what you do. Say you're going somewhere. I've been with narcissists on road trips. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. If you ever want to know what somebody is really like, take a road trip with them when you're with them all the time. Because narcissists, they love to mask. They like to put on the fake persona. They're actors, but nobody can keep that up all the time. And if you get in a car with somebody, you go on vacation with them, whatever you discover, well, you could also marry them, but I would suggest you don't do that to find out what they're like, but, just take a road trip with them, maybe just a day trip. But you find out that beneath all the acting, what this person is truly like. Now, sometimes that's a positive thing. If you are with somebody who is not a narcissist, just a genuine, good, decent person, taking a road trip with that person can be very pleasant. It can be a good thing. So just spending time with people. Being with them when they let down their guard, when they stop acting, and everybody puts on a mask. We all do that. It's kind of like human nature. We can't help but to do it. But when you take a road trip with these people or you spend time with them, what you find, these people being narcissists, you find that even though you thought you were buddies, you were pals, you had a romantic relationship, you were cooperating one-on-one, well, the balance begins to shift slowly to the point where you have no choice. This is a partnership, in a sense, but it's a one-way partnership. You have a role to play, and your role is to be submissive so that the narcissist can use you to boost his or her ego. And at first you don't realize that. You think, okay, we're in this partnership, we have this friendship. You are in this trauma bond where they are very kind to you one minute and you are reassured. Sometimes they even apologize for the way they mistreated you. And you are reassured. And as soon as they sense you are reassured, they go right back to abuse. And they cycle this over and over. Well, there comes a point in time when your sense of self, this is number 3, when your sense of self is just totally surrendered. You're no longer making your own decisions, and you seem to be, I think saying content is not the correct word, but surrendered is the correct word. You just give up. You quit trying. Talked about this yesterday. You know, you get kicked down so many times, and every time you try to get up, and so you quit trying to get up. You've totally surrendered. That, I think, is when the epiphany, if it's going to come, in my experience, that's when you see it. You can't, people would tell me this person has a problem. This person is a narcissist, or they would use some other term. They would try to clue me in that this person is abusing me. I didn't see it. I had to experience it before I could see it. Now, that's just me. Maybe you're different. But I'm guessing that that is true of most people. It's the epiphany. It is the validation. It is that moment where you see the narcissist, hey, this guy's gone way too far. This is not a cooperating relationship. This is, I'm cooperating and nobody else is. Nobody? Well, it's you and the narcissist. I mean, between the two of you, in this partnership, this friendship or this romantic relationship, whatever it is, you're taking it very seriously. You're seeing yourself as a team, as a partnership. The narcissist sees it very differently. The narcissist sees you as kind of like a critter. You're their pet. Or, as we said in other videos, you're kind of like a farm animal. You're a chicken. Your job is to lay eggs, and that's pretty much it. Feed the farmer. Your job is to feed supply to the narcissist. Okay, epiphany. Now I see it. And, I didn't see this from watching YouTube videos. I mean, some of them helped me understand, and I didn't see this by reading books. And I got to tell you, I read a book on psychopathy, and it was so enlightening. But when I got that book, I was already enlightened. It was just making things a little more evident, a little more clear. No, it made things a lot more evident, a lot more clear. So I had my epiphany. So I was no longer number 5. I was no longer walking on eggshells. That's kind of an odd expression. I literally have never walked on eggshells, but the idea is you are walking so tenderly, it's like you're walking on eggs and you don't want to break any of them. Try that sometime. Nah, don't try it because eggs are too expensive. But, in your mind, just imagine what that's like. The idea is you don't want to disrupt or bother or annoy your good friend, the narcissist, your love interest, the narcissist. Well, if it's come down to walking on eggshells, maybe this is not the partnership that you thought it was. It's all about them. It's nothing about you. And when they fake it, when they keep going back to that love bombing thing, what they're doing is they're just, they see you slipping away, they're just pulling you back in. At least that's been my experience. So, number 5, no longer walking on eggshells. Eggshells are gone. You see the narcissist for what he or she really is. And you're not bothered by trying to please this person any longer. In fact, you're perfectly happy displeasing the person. My take on this, the way that I like to approach these people is I just say, hey, I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm going to ignore this person. Somebody came up with the term gray rock. I don't know who came up with that, pop psychology. I don't think that's a clinical term. But the principle, I think, is very valid, and we're talking about validation. The idea is once you realize that the narcissist is a narcissist that is self-serving, all they see is themselves, It's time to walk away. I mean, away. Get as far away as well as I possibly could. I'm not really giving advice. I'm just telling you there's some ideas. What I've learned in my life, you can take it or leave it. That's totally up to you. Number 6 is this. You've had your epiphany. You're not walking on eggshells anymore. You understand that, yeah, you do matter, that you do have choices. You can defy the narcissist anytime and every time he or she makes a bad decision for you. Then ask yourself this, number 6, where am I going from here? What's the next move? Well, we said gray rock, but let's extend this a little bit. Let's ask ourselves a question. A year from now. So, maybe get out a calendar or get out your cell phone, see what date it is. And if it's January 1st, 2024, that's obviously gone, but ask yourself, where will I be January 1st, 2025? Or 1 year for today, what will my relationship with a narcissist be? Hopefully, if at all possible. Sometimes I know it's not possible, but if at all possible, this person will be out of your life. May I give you a warning? Here's what I've experienced. The narcissist loves to triangulate because they don't like to give up. They may have discarded you, or fortunately, if you are fortunate enough, I should say, you have discarded them before they had a chance to discard you. But it doesn't matter. They don't like to lose. And having to discard you, to them, that's a loss because they don't have you for supply. How are they going to get supply out of you now? Well, they do it through triangulation. They get other people involved. So it's you, the narcissist, and a third person that makes the triangle. And with some narcissists that I've experienced, there are many triangles. That's the whole idea of the smear campaign. It's just a big bunch of triangles. Every person you know or ever have known, if the narcissist can get to them, they will try to interject themselves into your life through vicariously that other person, and it never turns out good. But sometimes it's just one person. Maybe it's your spouse, or maybe it's because the narcissist may only know one person they can get to you through. So maybe it's a spouse, maybe it's a sibling, maybe it's a neighbor, but somehow, some way, they want to form that triangulation. So, number 1, so you will know and feel their presence. And number 2, because they just feel like they got to. They feel like they've got to have control over you, and if they can't do it directly, they're going to do it indirectly. They just do it one step away through another person. That's the triangle. So ask yourself a year from now, are you going to be in touch with a narcissist either directly or vicariously through a proxy? People like to call them flying monkeys. I call them proxies. Through another person who is sometimes even unaware that they're being used and don't even want to believe they're being used because they think the narcissist, some of them nearly all of them think the narcissist is a nice guy. And they wonder, man, what's your problem? This guy's so, they're thinking what you used to think. And you understand because you used to be there. Number 7 is, okay, we've gone through the epiphany. We're not walking on eggshells. We've asked ourselves, where will we be a year from now? Okay, a year from now. Here we are. Let's say a year ago, I had my epiphany or my validation, as psychologists call it. And now I'm looking in hindsight. Now with me, the narcissist that I've gotten away from, it's been several years, so I have pretty good hindsight. The farther away you get from them, the more clear it becomes. And what you realize is, or what I realized was, let's put it in this context. Think of a food that you really enjoy. How about honey, or maybe ice cream, or whatever. So what happens if somebody takes your favorite food and they put something toxic in it? Poison. And you don't know. You thought it was so good. And you ate the honey or the ice cream. I personally have a preference for chocolate ice cream, not that it matters. And you eat it. I also like noodles. Not that that has anything to do with anything, but, I could be eating noodles and somebody could put something toxic in it. Toxic substance, and it can make me sick, or could it even kill me, depending on what it is. And that's what, in hindsight, the relationship with a narcissist was. I thought it was really cool. And narcissist, I'm speaking in plural here because I've experienced more than one, but at the time, yeah, this is a good guy, or this is a good person, woman, whatever. Most of the narcissists I've encountered, it seems to have been men, but I know I've had a few women who were at least narcissistic, if not flat out narcissist, and I thought it was a good relationship. But it wasn't, because there was something toxic in it that I didn't taste at the very beginning. But in hindsight, I can see how sick I was. And I can see where it came from, because when I quit eating the honeys, figuratively speaking, when I quit eating the ice cream, quit eating the noodles, I wasn't sick anymore. So another thing I've learned in hindsight, and again, I'm in my 70s, I've learned these things. I'm just sharing with you some of my experiences. But a year from now, you've moved on to a different plane. You've gone up. Say that you're in a building, and you live on the ground floor, and the narcissist is on the ground floor. Well, you just moved up a floor. The narcissist is now beneath you. You don't see them. You know they're down there. You don't see them. You don't hear them. You have no communication with them. You're on a higher plane. Or maybe think of it as a different planet. I like that better. Probably a better analogy. But you're as far removed as you can be. That, in my opinion, is the ideal. And the narcissist, by the way, eventually is going to give up. It may seem like they're still there because they're stuck in your head, but why would they waste time on you? Because you're no longer providing supply. Because that's what they've got to have. They've got to have supply, and you're not supplying anymore. Here's another analogy just come to my mind. Let's say that you're a farmer, and you're farming somewhere, and there's a change in the climate where it's getting to be too dry to grow crops. What are you going to do? You're going to move on, right? Find greener pastures, literally. And to a narcissist, you're no longer yielding crop. You're no longer the green pasture. So they're going to pack up and move on, go to somebody else. And so what we want to do, or what I've experienced, is I want to create a habitat for the narcissist that is toxic for him or her. I want to create a desert where they can't get supply at all. And so if they want supply and they crave it, they really don't have a choice but to pick up and leave. Now remember, we said the narcissist, the bad guy, what they will do, every time we try to get up, they punch us and put us back down until we give up. Now you're doing the same thing to the narcissist, only you're doing nothing. You're just not responding. And eventually, the narcissist is going to do the same thing that you did, and they're going to give up. They're going to realize that you are a total waste of time. Now, they can get a little bit of supply out of you, just the joy of harassing you, but it's not the same as it was. They're going to spend their time with someone else. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you all next time.